Ever since I was 7 years old, I wanted to become a Pokemon trainer. Fast forward to 2024, while I may not be competing against Pokemon gyms, I am competing against Jiu-Jitsu gyms. And that's kind of how this all began. See, this is Carly. A few weeks ago, she asked if I wanted to take a road trip across Canada, see the world, train at Jiu-Jitsu gyms along the way, and live life to the fullest. And I said no. Carly and I had only known each other for less than 2 months, and I was a little hesitant to take a road trip in a different country with somebody I had just met. But then I thought back to my younger 7-year-old self and how excited he would have been to live out the perfect Pokemon adventure. So I made a phone call.
Hello?
Hey, do you remember that Canada trip you were talking about going on?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Seriously?
He's gonna be like, do you have any weapons on you? Just have my blue belt. Be like, yeah.
He's like, don't worry, it's only blue.
Oh, fuck you. Our first stop on the list was Vancouver. Of course, we had to go get sushi, and then after exploring the city a little bit, it was time to find our first gym. That gym was none other than Alliance Vancouver. Alliance is recognized as one of the top affiliations in the world, coming in at number 7. But what made this place really stand out was their gym leader, Julian, or as my 7-year-old self would recognize him as, Lieutenant Surge. So Julian here is going to be our first test of the trip. Now, as we get going, I make the mistake of playing a little bit too loose on my grips, and Julian gives me a preview of what's to come in the round. As he starts to pressure forward, I wrap my arm around his head and start attacking one of the strongest submissions in my arsenal, the guillotine. However, at that moment, I was unaware of Julian's special ability, BBE.
BBE is a special ability known as Big Black Belt Energy, commonly known to give the user immunity to most basic lower belt attacks.
With that knowledge, I knew I had to be a little more creative if I wanted to find a submission in this round. To give you guys some perspective, this isn't a world championship match, and there also aren't any gym badges on the line. However, what these first few gym battles are for is to prepare me to take on my biggest jiu-jitsu rival. But more on that soon. Right now, I have to live with the consequences of attacking this low outside single, Julian locking onto my head and absolutely ripping my neck off in this guillotine. So far in this round, I've just been tossed around and submitted, and if I wanted to walk out of this gym with at least a little bit of pride, I knew I had to step up to the plate and take a shot like a man. Julian not only stuffed my shot, but then passed into side control. Now I know I stated earlier there's no titles or medals on the line, but what kind of grand Pokemon adventure did I sign up for to just go around into gyms and get stomped on for 5 minutes? And on top of that, Julian's special jiu-jitsu superpower ability pretty much shut down any chance I had at a comeback. However, I knew there was one last move in my arsenal that could surprise Julian and maybe get past that special ability. But the first objective was getting out of his side control. I dug deep and found my way out onto his back. I tried my hand at attacking the rear naked choke, but I wasn't too surprised when he blocked it pretty easily and threw me back on the ground. But this is actually exactly where I needed to end up. As we both took our final swings, Julian went for a guard pass, and that's when I found my triangle choke. Now obviously, the regular triangle isn't going to affect Julian too much, so I inverted under him, locking my hands around his torso and attacked one of my signature moves, the body lock triangle. So, after some great exchanges here at Alliance with Julian, it was time to grab lunch.
So you're gonna make me a sandwich?
I'm gonna make you a sandwich. No, wait.
And then get back on the road as we set our sights on our next city. Now on the way up to Calgary, we took what we thought was going to be a relaxing pit stop at Lake Louise, but the universe had different plans. Day 5, baby. So we took a quick stop here at Moraine Lake. They have a tea house on a mountain. It's like 5 miles up the mountain, so we're gonna go get some tea. So there's 2 tea houses on the mountain. The first one is back that way, but we wanted to go a little farther, a little deeper into the mountain. So we're hiking down another like 2 hours to another tea house, the secluded one. But another problem, it just started thundering as well. So this could be a really bad idea, but it could be a great story. So we're gonna do it anyway. And we also made a friend. This is
Hey
Andre.
guys.
Where are you from again?
Cyprus.
Cyprus. So we're about halfway there. And it's pouring now. but the view is crazy. This point is just a mental battle. If I want to win Euros, gotta make it through this thunderstorm in the mountains. I still can't feel my toes. My toes are gone. But we made it to the tea house in the woods. I'm starving, and I'm freezing, and I'm hungry. Oh, it's so good. Oh my god, it's so good. Now, what could have easily been an awful experience turned out to be quite fulfilling. I'd like to think it was the company and friends I made during the trip that changed my perspective and allowed me to enjoy the cold, wet, and less fortunate moments. But with all that behind us, it was time to head to Calgary, and here I would take on my first ever Gracie Baja gym. Now, one of the things about Gracie schools is they are a very formal gym. So the first thing on the to-do list was I had to change into their uniform. And now that we've successfully invaded the equivalent of Team Rocket's headquarters, it was time to take on their leader, Eduardo. So this is the part where I get my ass kicked. So as Eduardo and I first lock hands, I could immediately tell that he was a lot different stylistically compared to our first gym leader, Julian. While Julian was a little more aggressive and rough, Eduardo was playing a little calmer, but I could tell that he was just waiting for me to make a mistake so he could strike. Now because of that, it's essential that I keep pushing the pace to prevent Eduardo from finding an opening. And the weapon I've chose to do that with is a technique that I've developed called slash passing. And as I'm sure that's a name you haven't heard outside of this channel, the basic idea of slash passing is to continuously wear down our opponent's guard by applying side-to-side pressure and forcing major defensive reactions in order to recover the guard. However, just when I thought I had found my rhythm, Eduardo found his counter. And after that move, this quickly became a game of survival. At this point, the only thing left to do was hold on and try to not get submitted. I ended up surviving the round, made some good connections, and then we were back on the road to the US, where I would take on my final challenge in Montana. To give you guys the history lesson, a few weeks prior, I set out to Trap House Jiu-Jitsu to teach my first ever Jiu-Jitsu seminar on guard passing. And this is where Callan and I's rivalry began. For the entire week that I was there, Callan dominated me. But as we made our way back to Seattle, I had one last opportunity to take Callan on. So we had quite a long drive yesterday, driving through Calgary, then a glacier. Hey, Carly.
Hi.
But we're back at Callan's house.
It's dirty, dude. You gotta warn me. I gotta clean up for the people.
So this is Callan, our final gym leader of our trip. And so it was finally time for Callan and I to have our match. What makes Callan so difficult is his pure unpredictability. I would also say that Callan is a mixture of our previous two gym leaders, playing as calm and relaxed as Eduardo, but also pushing forward and attacking more, similarly to Julian. What's really dangerous is anytime I try to make a move forward, Callan finds a way to latch on, pulling me into an entanglement and forcing me to retreat. I take a big risk and dive in for a north-south pass, and without hesitation, Callan immediately counters that, entangling me into a guard. He'll use this entanglement to try to keep me down as he takes top position. As I push back into him, he locks onto my neck and starts to work towards a choke. And this is what makes Callan such a good player. No matter which way I go, he always has an attack waiting on the other side. I managed to fight Callan off me, and then I charged through him with a double leg takedown. Unfortunately, I land right in his close guard, and as I try to break out, he kicks me over once again. At this point, Callan seemed untouchable. Anything I did was being either countered or simply deflected. I knew when I look back on this moment, I wouldn't be satisfied with how my Pokemon journey was about to end, so I made one final move. Now obviously there's no winning training, but what I really wanted in that moment was a memory that I could look back on and be happy about. And that's when I realized that this entire trip hasn't been about going around Canada and simply competing against gym leaders. And if I learned anything from this adventure in the Pokemon series, it's that the story isn't about winning, it's about the people you win with. My goal was to set out on the ultimate Pokemon adventure. I like to think I accomplished that goal not by the gym leaders that I challenged, but by the relationships I built with them and the people that I met along the way. And that's what made this trip the ultimate Pokemon Jiu-Jitsu journey.
Oh, are you taking